video. That is White Street, huh?
We're on that side.
I made that up. 437. I didn't know that.
We landed in El Paso.
I'm not a good vlogger, I don't think.
Everyone say hello. We made it.
Howdy.
Next stop
Howdy.
is White Sands National Park.
I might want to sleep outside. I don't know. Marky's right. She's a nature girl. I'm a nature lady. I'm a lady of nature.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I'm gonna pull off here because I want to touch you.
Imagine losing your virginity out here. How special would that be?
It's so hot. This is not for the faint of heart.
Just keep chugging.
Water.
Sunglasses are a must. The sand is so reflective, it's so bright. You'll blind yourself.
I need a lot of things right now. I mean, it's crazy.
So when we were planning this trip, we became really obsessed with this town called Truth or Consequences. When leaving White Sands National Park and heading to Albuquerque, it was kind of out of the way, but obviously we had to stop. It's probably the place where I have the least amount of footage, but it holds a very special place in our heart, and it was kind of the basis for our entire trip. By the time we made it to Albuquerque, which took roughly 4 hours from White Sands, we were so exhausted, like actually had been up for almost over 24 hours at that point. So definitely don't have any footage there. But all we did was we got Taco Bell, we went to our hotel, and we all crashed immediately. And then the next day was the day we picked up the RV, and that was a journey in of itself.
We're in Red Rock country.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. We got rocks.
Oh,
It's begun.
I love nature.
I haven't vlogged today because, well, honestly, this was a stressful day trying to get everything done. But we've been to Walmart. We got the RV.
We are out of
Out of Albuquerque. We will be in Moab in 5 hours and 18 minutes. It is. It's Alex's birthday. Woo!
By the time we made it to Moab from Albuquerque, we arrived At about 11:30, especially once we found our campsite, to say morale was low at that point would probably be an understatement. We were so exhausted, but we found our campsite, we got settled in, we drank a couple beers and celebrated Alex's birthday under a beautiful starry night, and tried to get to bed as quickly as possible because the next day we were gearing up to go to 3 national parks, the first one being Arches. And the thing about Arches is you have to have a timed entry pass. We did not have a timed entry pass because it didn't correlate with our plans. So if you don't have a timed entry pass, you have to enter before 7 a.m. So we made it to bed probably about 1, slept for a couple hours, got up at about 5 and headed to Arches and made it there just in time. Hi, this is Ashton, the creator of this vlog, and if you made it this far, thanks for watching. So I thought it would be ideal to put a video where I'm talking at the end of this little series I'm doing of our desert trip, since it's going to be broken up into a couple different parts because we went and did so many things. So this is for the first 2 days. When we started planning this trip, which was months in advance, we quickly realized, just how much really is going to go into a 9-day RV trip with 6 people, going to 3 different states and 6 national parks. So a lot of research went into this, and YouTube for us was one of our biggest helpers. And so I just want to be able to provide anyone who wants to do a trip like this with as much information as humanly possible, because it can be very overwhelming when you start trying to plan and book and figure out routes and just all the little nitty-gritty things that you kind of don't think about until it comes down to the wire. So starting with kind of the basis of our whole trip, we wanted to do Utah's Grade 5, but we also really wanted to do White Sands National Park. Those are in completely different states, very, very far from each other. Most people do Utah's Grade 5 by flying into Las Vegas, starting at Zion, and working their way up the state. We did it backwards because, like Robert Frost says, the path less traveled. But it just made way more sense. If we wanted to do White Sands National Park, we needed to start there first. So flew into El Paso, Texas, rented a car, and then drove the hour and a half to White Sands. From there, drove to Albuquerque, which is where we stopped also in Truth or Consequences, which is kind of touched on in this video, but we're so obsessed with Truth or Consequences. We named our group chat for this trip Truth or Consequences. It just was like this running theme for us. Really cool town. There's not much there, but it just felt really cool. They have a brewery with their sign, and it was really cool to see it. It's named after a game show. Bob Barker said that if anyone wanted to have the game show hosted in their town, they could enter into this competition, and if they agreed to host it there, could name the town after it. So that's kind of a little bit of the story behind it. And from there we went to Albuquerque, which I'm gonna post on top of me in this moment, where we stayed in Albuquerque, because we rented our RV through Cruise America. Really easy to do. They were wonderful to work with, and so we knew we wanted to pick up the RV after White Sands, but when you're planning this kind of trip, you definitely need to check in with them and see on their website. You can see where all their pickup spots are and drop-off locations are. Albuquerque was one of them, so it worked out perfectly. Our hotel was 4-minute drive to the Cruise America pickup place, and so that was really seamless and really easy. And I will post both of those addresses above me somewhere when I'm editing this. And then from there we drove to Moab. The drive to Moab was really long, and it was the first time we had ever driven an RV. Shout out to my brother-in-law who drove. So we ended up, driving some of the time in the dark, and that was a bit of a test of our sanity and courage after a really long day. A few things to know about White Sands National Park. It's one of the hottest places I've ever been in my entire life. I knew it was going to be dry heat. Obviously, it's the desert, but that white sand is so reflective and so bright. Have sunglasses, number one. Number two, just keep chugging water. Make sure you get a Camelback insert for your book bag so you can just keep drinking water. Stay hydrated, wear sunscreen, bring some sunglasses. In a perfect world, I would have loved to have stayed in White Sands National Park longer walking around, but I mean, it truly was so hot. Like, there was a couple of times I was like, oh, I might pass out from the heat. So we really didn't spend that much time walking around and hiking on the sand, but it was really, really cool to see, and I'm really happy we went. It was very far from everywhere else we were going to be, which was mostly in Utah, so it added some extra miles on the trip, but I would say it was well worth it. I've never seen anything like it before, and it was very otherworldly, so I would recommend. Moab, I wish we could have seen more of, but we didn't get there until really late at night. And so one really important thing to know about camping in Moab, they do have a few RV parks, but they were really expensive. The one in Arches was full months and months and months in advance. So we were kind of down to the wire of just like, do we want to spend $200 for this RV park or try to do first come first serve camping? Now, first come first serve is usually fine if you make it there earlier in the day. Since we didn't arrive until almost 11:30 p.m., it was slightly more challenging, but we did secure a spot. There is, which I'll post a picture of what it looked like as well while I'm talking. But the one we ended up finding a site, and so we just kept going down farther down the road until finally we got to Big Bend, and we had a beautiful campsite, and it really worked out for the best, especially since we had to be up so early to make it to Arches in time, since we didn't have the timed entry pass. I would love to go back to Moab to see more of it. It looked really cute when we were passing through, but we were so exhausted by the time we made it. So a few things that I just have thought of, that if you're a first time person who's wanting to also vlog or go on a trip like this, I bought a really cheap camera, which I'm not mad about. It did what it needed to do. I got footage for this, and I'm happy with the footage. The only thing is, I just wish the sound would have been a little bit better. If that's something I would try to go back and fix, get some better mics for it that just pick up the sound better. Other than that, I wish maybe I would have filmed a few more things, but I think it's really hard to be on a trip and be fully present and in the moment, and also trying to constantly record yourself and what you're doing. So I did the best I could, trying to juggle both, because I do, want to live in the moment and be present. I do wish I would have done a tour of the RV, and that feels silly to say it out loud. Like, how did I do a vlog and not do a tour of the RV? But it is what it is. There were 6 of us. We all had a bed, had a kitchen, very small kitchenette, a shower, a bathroom, toilet, and it was great. We had plenty of space, and people kept asking, oh, are you guys still friends after the trip? And I'm like, well, I'm not just going in an RV with anybody, so yes, we are still friends. Like I said, at the end of this series of each video, I'm gonna do breaking down every 2 days of the trip. I will do a video like this where I just kind of talk about a few things that I feel like might have gotten left out of the footage that I had, or just giving any extra information. But if anyone has any questions, any very specific questions, please ask me. I'd love to answer. And to quote Bob Barker for the game show and the basis of our whole trip, may all your consequences be happy ones. Thanks for watching.